Well, John, here we are at the EMA Oasis event, and I think personally it's gone extremely well. We're seeing some delegates that we don't normally see. I think there's a great interaction between them. We've got the twin tracks, Oasis looking more at the technical side, EMA looking at more at the business side. I think it's a great match. What do you think?
Well, that's been my reaction. I've been moderating a few of the Oasis track sessions, and the caliber of the participants and the questioning is really interesting. And the subject matter, which is standards focused but also very business oriented, seems to have brought together and attracted a great audience who were informed but also eager to learn a lot about the standards-based technologies around security. So it's been really a very interesting event, and actually also interesting is the fact that the participants have come back on day 2 and have been very active in the opening sessions.
I mean, we started at 9 o'clock today, and I was surprised how many were here. But it's very encouraging. The opening plenary yesterday, we had some great keynote addresses. Was there anything that came out of that was of interest?
I think, well, personally, I focus a great deal on the confluence of security and privacy, and what I thought was an interesting outcome of the plenary was that each of the plenary speakers at one point or other touched on data privacy and the importance of managing identity against attributes, against the ability to share particular sensitive personal information, and the ability to manage all of this in a policy-driven environment. And that connection between standards and implementation of technology, the policies, and data privacy struck me as really an interesting thing, because there's no pre-coaching of the speakers. They all developed their own
I think Mary Ellen Callahan
right.
from Homeland Security, she brought out a lot of that privacy and what's happening in the US. I mean, you're US based?
Yes, I'm US based and in the Washington environment.
So do you see a lot what she's saying as good for the industry?
Well, there's been a tension at times between the desires of government to address their national security responsibilities and the technologies and practices used to carry that out. And how far does government go to examine what people are doing to help look for patterns and to identify threats and to deal with those? So there's always been this tension, and what was really important that she talked about was that there's not necessarily a conflict between national security concerns of governments, including the US government, but others as well, and individual privacy. There is the need to have a public policy trade-off or balance. From a technology point of view, the technologists, those of us who are technologists, see that you can bridge policy needs with security and privacy implementations using standards-based technology. There are ways to do that, but ultimately it's a public policy decision. And I think she was very clear about her desire to bring privacy controls to this public policy debate.
We heard some references, I think, by Kim Cameron to the cloud and identity in the cloud, and we've got some sessions today on that. Are there issues, as you see them, that will need resolving in that identity, securing your identity in the cloud?
Well, this is exactly a great, one of the great values of this type of conference, particularly bringing EMA and Oasis together, because you bring expert technologists who also are looking at the business and business process and new developments and new trends in terms of business operations, social networking, government operations. Yes. So you're bringing together the trends that are emerging, including cloud computing, which seems very abstract and unapproachable, but actually embeds a lot of the technologies that we use in the enterprise, for example. So bringing the technologists together who can anticipate these trends and make clear how technology needs to evolve to address the risks associated with these trends is really an important factor in this conference, I think.
I think there's some data protection issues as well, if you're not quite sure where your data is being held. And,
well, data management, management of a very complex networked environment, and all of the business partners, all the federated relationships that are now expanding, including government to business, business to citizen, and so on. Managing that is becoming a huge issue for managing the infrastructure, managing the policies, ensuring that there's auditable risk management control systems in place. So that all becomes really very difficult to do, and putting together all the standards and all of the solutions that are available from the industry against these challenges is really an important, it's an important thing.
I mean, your role at CA as Director of Global Government Relations, I mean, there must be some issues that you see that need resolving.
Well, there's a set of international issues around cybersecurity as in one example, which is a general issue impacting both the business community, the global economy actually, as well as government. So cybersecurity, meaning our increased the risks associated with our increased dependence on the networked IT infrastructure becomes a very, very difficult challenge. And we see that in Washington, and you're seeing that in Europe with the work ANISA is doing, and the EU. Big concerns about our ability to ensure that that growing infrastructure, which is really supporting everything from electricity to financial systems to an emerging healthcare system, is actually managed, and the risks associated with cyber are managed. So these systems are available and the applications are trustworthy, and that the confidence that the economy and citizens are placing in this system is well placed. So it's an emerging issue. There are other ancillary issues related to that, but I think that's a very, very large one.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's been great working with you and Oasis, and I hope we continue for the future.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Take care.